Students, and welcome to the next tutorial in our project, Working with Pixlr, and your project All About You. Today, we're going to be working with text. In my last tutorial video, I reminded you needed to have 5 adjectives that describe you, just to prepare for today's lesson. Remember, adjectives are describing words, and they describe nouns. You are the noun. So we're going to get started. Now, there are a couple of components to doing this with text, things you're going to learn. You're going to learn how the text tool works. You're going to learn what it means to rasterize a layer. You're also going to learn how to use the distort tool. And you're also going to learn how to look at fonts in a different way, because each font communicates a tone or a message. For example, if I said the word crabby, I'd probably want to have an edgy font, because I wouldn't want to use one that was all frilly, because that really doesn't represent the word crabby. So let's get started. So I have 5 adjectives that I have written down about myself. So the first one I'm going to use is silly. Remember, we're still working within the monochromatic color scheme. And my color scheme is right here. That's the foreground color, and that's the background color. So I'm going to click, I'm going to leave mine, first one is white. I'm good with that. And I'm going to click on the T tool. That's pretty self-explanatory. It's the T tool for text. So I'm going to click on that so my text tool is highlighted. Then I'm going to go up here, and I need to take a look at some fonts, except there we go. There we go. Right? And I'm going to click Add Text. When I click Add Text, you can see that it opens up an entirely new menu, plus it writes something in some language right down here. We're not going to use that. So as any other editor, you can see that there's also the text size, and then you've got some settings, line spacing, letter spacing. That's called kerneling, and can't remember the other one. Anyway, then you've got a background, or you could put an outline on your text. We're going to work with a couple of those in a minute. So the first thing I want to do is take a look, and the word I'm going to use is silly. So I'm going to see what looks like a really silly font to me. And you just scroll through and take a look, especially as soon as the computer says, yep, you can continue on. This one looks kind of fun and silly. Or maybe this one down here looks fun and silly. You can just look through these fonts and see what you can find. I also noticed that not all of them are loaded, and so I'm just not going to mess around with those right now. I'm just going to use the options I have, because frankly, there are quite a few of them. So I'm going to click on Beerly, and that's going to be my font. I'm also going to move this so I can see what I'm writing in here. So while I'm on the text tool, I'm going to type in here. Just double click so I could get my cursor going. And I'm going to type in the word silly. And since I think I'm really silly, or I like to be really silly, I'm going to put on caps lock and type it in like that, because I want it to be big. I'm also going to make this even bigger, because like being silly is a big part of who I am. So I'm going to move the slider bar. Ooh, you can see it's getting to be really big. Now, I also mentioned that we have settings here. One of the things that I know, kittens, can I move that? I can. One of the things I noticed is look at how close these letters are together. It kind of makes it really hard to read. So when I click on settings, and then I can move letter space, look at how that stretches out the space between the letters. And that's what I am going to do. We don't have to worry about line space because I have no text underneath it. So I'm just going to click off of that. And so now my letters are farther apart. One other thing that I'd like to do with this is I want to click up here, because I actually want to put an outline on my letters. Do you see how that was, it just popped on there? But I don't want gray. I want to stick with that color scheme that we've been working with. So I'm going to pick one of the colors along the bottom, and I might even pick black, because that'll fit. See, whoa, look at that pop off the screen. That's exactly what I wanted. Now, if you want to have more of an outline in Photoshop. This is called stroke, but if you wanted to have more, you just adjust the size. But remember, the goal is not to make it look like that. The goal is still to maintain the text and readability of it. So can I put a shadow on? What does that look like? Nah, I really can't tell much there. I don't think I'm going to put a shadow on it. It doesn't even really show up much. What if I turn it to white? Ooh, yeah, maybe I'll leave it. Okay, so now I've got my word. I've manipulated it. The font definitely gives the mood of being silly. So now I want to be able to distort the text so that I can wrap it around my head. Your goal with this project is to be able to work with text and wrap your entire head with the words. So, right, you're going to have to adjust size. You're going to have to adjust the way they look. And so I'm going to, I have to rasterize the layer first. What rasterizing means is that you are taking a text layer, you're rasterizing it, which means it's turning it into a graphic layer. And they both perform in different ways. So we want to be able to turn it into a graphic layer so that we can add some distortion to the text. So to do that, I've got it rasterized. No, I didn't. I have to rasterize it by going to Layer, the Layers menu, and then I have to look for Rasterize Text Element. Okay, so again, to rasterize, I click on Layer, and I go to Rasterize Text Element. It's now turned into a graphic. Take a look over here. You can see the word silly. In the next word that I do, I'm going to show you the difference between what a text layer looks like and what a graphic layer looks like after it's rasterized. So now I want to be able to distort this and bend it around my head. And to do that, now I'm going to go to Edit, and I'm going to go to Free Distort. Okay, Edit, Free Distort. And you'll see it pops up with a box. And now I can mess around and bend it. I can move it like this. That's looking kind of silly to me. Ooh, now I can't even read it. So I'm going to hit the return key to set it in place. That just kind of glues that change right into place. And you can see now I'm back to having a box. I really don't like the way that worked out. I really want to bend it more. So I'm going to go back to Edit and click on Free Distort one more time. The computer's taking a little bit. So this time I'm going to move this up like this. And I want to click over here, bend it down like this, and like this. Click up here. Yes, I want to apply it. My computer's moving mighty slow today. All right, so now I do have one word, and look, when I hover over it, the word, a red box appears, and now I can move that. Because I am on the Move tool, it allows me to move it where I want it. So that's one word, okay? I'm going to add one more word, and then you will just repeat this process for each one of your 5 adjectives, okay? So let me see, what's another word that I can put down here? I'm going to put down creative. And I think this time I am going to pick a different color for creative. Now I'm going to go back to the T tool, text tool. Remember, up here is where I add text, and the menu pops open. It's set at 650 pixels, but that's way too big, so I'm going to move that down. And then one thing I forgot to point out in the last word that I did, whoopsie, there I go, bopping in and out. The color for the text is actually up here on the menu, okay? So you choose the color for text from this menu. So I'm going to open this up, and that's perfect. It's in my same color palette, my monotone color palette. Now I need to pick another color for creative, and I think I'm going to go with that color. And just like I did with the word silly, I'll double click inside. You can see it highlights the text. I'm going to highlight all of it, and then I'm going to type in creative. Ooh, I forgot to check out a font. Well, here's another thing you can do with the fonts. So I'm just going to highlight this. And then when I click inside the font area, it should automatically change it so I can just see what it looks like with my specific text. And since now the word is creative, I have to pick out what I think looks like a creative text. And I kind of like this one. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. But I'm going to pick this one right up here. I love the way it just looks creative to me. So one thing I didn't show you the last time is if you look over to the right on the layers palette, you can see the difference between a text layer and a graphic layer. The text layer actually names itself with the word, but you can see there's a T tool in here, right? That tells me it's a text layer. What that tells me is that I can't move it, distort it. I can move it. I can't distort it in any way because it's a different type of a layer. So just, I want to pop up over here and see if there's something I want to do with this. Maybe this one I'm going to give a shadow to because I like it. Creativity follows me wherever I go. This time, do I want a white shadow? Well, maybe. Maybe I want to see, but that's not going to work out well with the background, is it? I'm not even going to be able to see it. Maybe I'll go with a light there. Let me try that one. And what does that do for the shadow? I can see a little shadow there. Here you can also see that you can blur it. I want to make it a little less blurry, a little more hardened. You can pick out where you want the shadow to be. You can see it dropping way behind. And then I can also, I'm going to outline it as well. So now it's gray. I really don't want gray. I'm going to go down here and pick this deep blue, but I'm going to move it up just a little bit. So now I have worked with that text. It pops off the page. There's high contrast, so I can see it on the document. I feel like it represents a nice creative font, that the tone is there. So now my next step is I need to rasterize the layer. Remember, that's taking a text layer and turning it into a graphic so we can do some other things with it. So to get that rasterized, I go back to layer. I click on rasterize text or element. So I'm going to click on that. And it's going to turn it into a graphic. Take a look at the layers panel. You can see it's no longer a text layer because the T is gone. I know it's a graphic layer. So again, I'm going to go back to edit and I'm going to go to free distort. Maybe this time I'm going to bring those ends in. Oops, not yet. I don't want to apply that yet. Just want to mess with it a little bit more. Kittens. Oh, kittens, why does it keep doing that? Anyway, I'm going to, okay, we'll just apply it, okay? It definitely wants us to apply it. Yes, computer is going slow today. So now I've got the word creative. I can move it around. I can even go back to the word silly and I can move that into a different spot. I can do that by going back to edit. And this time I want free transform. So when I have that, now I want to hover around these corners. I want to be able to turn it whichever way. I want to be able to pivot it. And to do that, so remember I went to edit and free transform. Look at how the cursor turns into an arrow, one on each side. So I'm going to go out here and now I can turn my text and I can move it to where I want it. I'm going to just move it right here. Back out there. So now I'm surrounding my head. I'm going to put creative right at the top of my head because, well, let's face it, guys, that's actually where your creativity comes from, is your head, right? Your brain. So now I have two of my words, and I would continue on now and surround my head with those words. So that's what we're doing with the text. So let me restate what your assignment is. What is the next task? You're using 5 adjectives that describe you, who you are. You're going to choose fonts that represent the tone or the feeling of that word. You're going to use the text tool to write the word. You're going to use the options you have with text. I'm going to click on it so I can say the exact word that they are and show you. You're going to work with settings. You're going to work with styles. Remember, you're working in the monochromatic color scheme yet, so don't forget to use the same color that goes with your monochromatic project. And I'm going to click on here so I can get the text color that I want. So once I have that done and I have my text chosen, then I have to go up to the layer and I have to rasterize the text. So now you've learned how to turn a text layer into a graphic. And when I have that completely done, then I go over to, my next step is to go to the edit option and click free distort, which will give me the option then to manipulate that particular text, which is now a graphic. So that's a recap of what you're doing. Remember, if you have any questions, I have a Google Meet for us set up from 12:50 tomorrow to 1:20. So I look forward to meeting with you, and send any questions my way. Bye for now. By the way, it's the first day of fall. I hope you had a great fall day, but I hope you didn't fall. Okay, bye everybody.